Hi guys, welcome to this session today. Bit big. Hope you're all very well. This session is for our school leaver program, the fundamental blow drying and styling techniques. I'm going to be shooting this live today. If you feel like you want to watch, that's really great. It's also going to be uploaded onto our YouTube channel. It's also going to be uploaded as a resource link to the fundamental blow drying styling techniques course, which we've developed for our school leavers 2020 who will be joining us this summer in July. We look forward for you to joining us. I wanted to pre-record this session for you to use. It's as part of next week's learning, so don't necessarily feel like you have to watch it live. You can always catch it back on YouTube, and it'll also be on the link on your course on Pivot Point. This session is a hair up session. I'm going to be doing a half up, half down look, working sort of on a crown section, creating this high pony. I'm going to create a very lived-in boho shape with a curling tongue. I'm also going to be working with a hairpiece, which I've pre-prepared. So the session is going to be about placement of the hairpiece, actually working with different sections to create this very, almost quite festival-like look. Very sort of lived-in, quite a little bit boho, but very cute and very, very, very current, very now. I've got my block here. I've made a division at the front. I've just taken a diagonal back section through to a furthest point behind the ear on either side. I've sectioned these sections away. I'm actually then gonna pop those in to the style at the end. I'm gonna take a section that just works roughly around about the crown, sort of around about here. And that's the section that's gonna be there. But what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna take this on a zigzag. Now the reason why I'm gonna take it on a zigzag is because I don't want a straight line going through here. It won't be very flattering. If you want something a little bit more lived in, a little bit more like, not rough and ready, but what's the word? Sort of a bit more like DIY rather than it's looking too sort of sculpted by a hairdresser. Just by actually working with a section like this, just by taking your comb and just sort of drawing it along the scalp in a zigzag-like motion, what we create is that. So we get that more like, kind of like a lived-in sort of look. But what we also get is the ability to mask any straight lines. Because sometimes when we see straight lines on the scalp, it always, not necessarily always looks very flattering. So just by taking that zigzag section all the way around like that, doesn't have to be perfect. It helps us to create that more festival-like look. I'm just going to switch from my tail comb now through to a dressing brush because I'm going to create a really sculpted look. I'm just going to sculpt the hair into place. Just going to press it down nice and firm because she doesn't fit very well. I'm going to press it down. I'm going to just brush the hair through. I'm going to place a little bit of hairspray onto the hair. Just some of the Velvet Silk spray that we use at the Academy. Nice even mist through here. Take my dressing brush and just comb it through. Now I'm working very firmly onto the scalp. Excuse me, sorry, I swallowed a massive bit of that. Nice and firmly onto the scalp to create that really nice slick look. I'm just positioning it just to see where I want it to actually fall. Yeah, I do want it quite high, but I don't want it too high. But yeah, because it's going to be quite sort of like the focal piece of the look. I'm going to curl the rest of the hair in just a minute. There we go. Yeah, that's really cool, that, because it's just going to sort of give us that kind of, that very sort of summer vibe, summer beachy vibes kind of look. Now, with hair this fine, you'll agree, I'm sure, this won't be enough to really showcase as a pony, which is why I'm actually going to place a hairpiece on top. But before we do that, I need to place in an elastic band. I'm actually going to place two elastic bands together. This will just strengthen the base of the pony straight away, because that's what I want. Keep it nice and tight at the root. Just switch your hands over as you're twisting and turning the section. And I'm just doing it 2 to 3 times. Like that. And that's just going to give me that nice sculpted pony as well. If you do get any slightly looser hairs, don't worry, because there's a piece going on top of this. This is all going to be hidden as well. So you don't need to worry necessarily too much about creating, because we're not going to see any of this. It's going to be quite hidden because the piece is quite large that I'm working on here. That's great. Lovely. Now what I want to do is create a little bit of height with this pony. So what you'll find is instantly, because of the weight of the pony, it starts to lift down. But I actually want it to lift up like that. I want it to almost sprout to create that like volume here. So what I do is 1 inch away is I then do a second ponytail, a second band here, and this will help elevate the hair higher. That will give us a lift. If you was to do this without a hairpiece, naturally you would have to wrap hair around this ponytail to ensure that you didn't see any of this banding, because it would look quite, well, it would look quite strange. So that's the first one. I'm going to put a second one on there. Bungee elastic is, hat elastic is really good for this. Bungee cords as well. I don't have any of those with me today. I've just got these elastic bands, so it's a little bit make do as well, and we can see now that's actually going to work quite nicely. Now we've got a little bit of movement, can you see, because I am going to be pinning under here. But if I wasn't actually going to be creating a pin, I would need this to be much tighter, which I probably would have actually repositioned the banding into place. Okay, so that's the first one. I'm just going to quickly turn on my tongs. I'm going to be working with a large barrel tong today. I just want to create sort of a really, really smooth kind of effect, which I'm going to be working with. I'm going to work with a heat glove. Although, because I'm going to be twisting it, I might hold the end slightly. I'd always put a heat glove on, just in case. I'm going to take this, I'm just going to clip it away for now. I'm going to start by, I'm just going to create a really quick boho look, bit boho wave through here. And you can see we've got that section all pre-prepared. I'm going to work with one of my big black clip. I'm going to actually work with this section here. I'm just going to take that and I'm going to draw a line across the scalp, and that'll give me a straight section. I find that's the best way to take sections. And these clips are great because they're very, very sturdy, and they'll hold quite a lot of hair in place. This is my section. Naturally, when we work with heat appliances, we would always work with a heat protection spray. Before I dried this, I actually worked in some Infiltrate, and that is got heat protector in there as well, so I've got some treatment on there. So always have that consideration to make. Now we're going to create a very lived-in boho wave with a very large curling tongue. I'm just going to take quite large sections here. I'm going to open the tongue. I'm going to face all the curls away from the face, so they're all going this way and they're all going that way to that side, so they're going 2 different directions. I'm going to take this section here. I'm going to start to heat. And as I heat it, I'm going to turn it like this. And then what I'm going to do is then I'm going to twist it. And then I'm going to heat this next section like this and turn it. And then I'm going to twist it. And then depending on if I want the ends straight, if I want them curled, I'm just going to curl them slightly. And it's just going to give me that sort of look. It's very, very loose. When I dress that out, it'd be more like just a bend. I want it to look like it's actually just come out of the sea. That very sort of, it's like beach waves kind of look. So I'm going to go in the same direction in the centre. So I'm just going to heat that section through. As I'm heating it, I'm turning it. Can you see I'm turning the tongue? And then I twist underneath the section. This sort of gives me that like flat light twist. I'm doing it as well in the same way. You can do this with a brush as part of the boho blow dry we teach at the academy. And as well work through. And again, it's just going to give me that sort of weird super loose wave. There's a little bit of hairspray on here as well, so it's actually just helping me, but it's a very slight amount. I'm going to work the opposite way now, so remember the curls all have to face away from the face. We don't want them facing towards the face, so you go in the opposite direction on the other side, so I'm coming underneath rather than going on top. So underneath, and then again start to curl through, and then as you reach enough distance, turn under the section. And this just gives you that little twist there. And then turn under the section. And then just finish off. And then again, that's just going to give you that super loose boho wave. I'll repeat that on my next section. Again, keep your clip open. Use this part of the clip. And draw a line across the scalp. If it stays in contact with the scalp throughout taking the entire section, you will find that you will end up with a straight line like that. And it's a very simple and easy way to actually create a really clean section. I've got my next section here, quite large sections, don't necessarily worry too much about creating something too And again, I'm just going through here, and this just helps me create the bend. And then as soon as I start going in, I'm turning. When I feel like I can, I twist. I feel like I can, I twist. There's many different ways that you can use a curling tongue, straighteners, and different heated equipment. The next session that I'm going to be teaching after this is actually hot tools training. So I'm going to upload this straight to Instagram. It will also be available on our YouTube channel, and it will also be hyperlinked into your pivot point learning course for the fundamental blow dry and styling techniques. So don't worry, you'll catch it at some point. Tongue in. I just tend to, that gives me a little bit of smoothness at the roots. Twist, turn when I feel like I can. Go underneath the section. You see I'm using both hands here as well. And again, just work through. And it just creates this really super loose, very flat wave. Very, very now, very fashionable. I'm just going to section this into two. I think it's too big now to do as just one. I'm going underneath the other way now. So instead of going that way, which will turn the curls that way, I'm going this way, which will turn the curls the opposite way. Again, heat this section through. Then when you feel ready, you can twist it. Heat the section through. Turn it around as you're heating it, twisting it, and again, just finish off with a little bit of bevel at the end, just to create that. But you could do it straight at the end if you want to as well. You wouldn't necessarily have to do it you wouldn't have to curl the end. So again, if you want that more like, just like a wave in the interior length rather than at the perimeter. So again, just go through. And it just creates this super, almost like non-wave kind of look, which I really like. This section's a little bit bigger, so I'm going to take sections more on the vertical. I am still going to work this as one section through here. You can as well, if you need to feel like you need to comb the section, just take your comb and just comb it through. But again, I'm creating something quite dishevelled, so I'm not necessarily too concerned about that. I want something a bit more like beachy, lived in, festival. Think festival, just think, you know. I mean, who knows if we're going to be going to any festivals at this rate, but hey, we still might want festival hair. So, again, that's just really super smooth, super soft. You know, we're seeing these looks a lot on Instagram, aren't we? You know, very boho kind of hair. It's really cool. And then just with the added piece on as well, which I've already pre-curled, it's going to look pretty amazing. Again, so I'm just taking that and I'm twisting it. Taking that, heat it through. And I'm twisting it. And I tend to do about 2 rotations of the tongue. But dependent on the length will depend on how many rotations you make. And also what style you actually want to create. Oh, what curlers am I using, please? This is a comment. These are Alpha Italia as well. I just got these, actually. Well, I got them in February at Pro Hair Live. They're amazing. I think they come with different barrels, so I can pop this off. And I've got 4 different barrels for it. This is the largest barrel, plus a wand. And I got them on sale for about £60, but I think they were retail about 100. They are a professional range, and they're very good. Very good. I was a bit sceptical because I'd never had anything from Alpha Italia before. Yeah, I'm impressed. Really good. I used to use just GHD curling tongs, but they are very expensive. So I did think, are these going to be a cheaper alternative? And yes, of course they were cheaper, but I don't necessarily feel like they've compromised too much in the quality. They don't glide as well as a GHD through the hair. You know, if I was doing this technique, it would really glide with a GHD as well. Thank you. Yeah, it gives a cool, really cool sort of like that lived-in wave, which if you've been watching any of my live sessions, this is my kind of thing really, this very sort of... I don't like hair to look too necessarily grained. I love it when it's got like a bit of a lived-in kind of approach, a little bit. I kind of like did it myself. And then we have those clients as well that do want that little bit more like super groomed, super glamorous as well. So I'm on that last section here. I'm going to curl this pony a little bit, but not too much. So I'm just taking that section, turning it, making sure it's getting nice and heated. And then just working through. Oh, I've done did 3 rotations on that one. That's okay. I'm going to let those set. I'll dress those out in just a few minutes' time. It's really good to let them set and just to give them that time to cool, because hair won't fully set until it's dry, until it's cold. Sorry, till it's dry. Well, that's also true, but not in this case because it's already dry. We've got this little pony here, but this is going to be mainly covered with the hairpiece that I'm about to put on in just a few minutes. But what I'm going to do, just to blend it, I'm actually just going to do this as a one section. It's kind of already been done a little bit, but I'm just going to go over and just sort of press down any of these little ends because I don't want them to stick out of the top, because these are the shorter parts of it. But again, a piece is going to go on top of that through there, so it's just going to give it that little bit more smoothness. I'm just going to go, which way am I going? That way, or I'll go this way. Again, and I'm just making sure that all the ends are sealed nicely. But again, a piece is going to go on that. I just want it to sit that little bit flatter. There, that's great. Okay, I'm just going to leave those for a few... Actually, I'm going to turn them off because I'm actually going to put my piece on now, and then I'll decorate the front sections. Whenever putting hair up, guys, I always leave a little bit out, even though I might just pin it in at the end exactly the same as the rest. The reason why I do this is because you can always give yourself that little bit of extra leeway if you need to actually hide anything that didn't necessarily work. Because sometimes we find like little bits stick out, or this little bit didn't sit as well as I was hoping it to, and it's always good just to have a little bit of section where you can maybe decorate it and hide it. So just to recap, we placed the hair into sections, we worked with a zigzag parting, we took a high ponytail and double banded, quadruple band actually, it's 2 bands and 2 bands. I then did a boho curl technique here, and now I'm going to place a hairpiece in. My hairpiece is just some weaves, and I made it, I sewed it together. It's quite crude, but again, make do and mend at home. I just felt that this was really cool to use this hair. Also as well, you may find that clients might be extension clients. They might have some old weave hair that they don't wear anymore. They might have a new fresh weave, and they might want to do something with it. And this is a really great way to maybe take my client's old weave and actually use it to maybe create something. Because clients won't have weave here, they'd have the weaves underneath. So you could take that old weave and maybe create something like a little piece. And I've just sewed it together really, it's very temporary. All I'm going to do is, just with some pins, I'm going to place this on top here, like this. I'm going to push it slightly forward. And then what I'm going to do is on either side, I'm going to hold it at the back, like this. I'm going to now pin it into place. So I'll just hold it like that. It's quite difficult. Like this. And I'm just going to pin it into place. I'm going to take this pin now. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to insert inside and then work down through. It's quite a thick piece, so I will need a few pins just to really ensure that it's actually secure. Again, because the client could be going out dancing, so I would always be asking them where you're going, what you're doing, and how long do you need it to last. And then I would discuss the strategy as well for taking it out. And that's really important. You've got to say to your clients, you know, when you get home, don't sleep with it in. You've got to make sure you take it out, because otherwise you'll end up with difficulties. I'm just finding a secure spot to place this pin in. It can be challenging when working with a hairpiece to make sure it's in nice and tight. Lovely, that's great. So as you can see, I'm just going to show you what I've created. That's the piece there, and it just really helps to add that little bit of thickness and density to the overall look. I'm just going to place another pin in the top section in just a moment's time. You can see what that zigzag does now. It actually stops it from being such a straight section. all the way across. I'm just going to take a pin here and I'm just going to push it back onto itself. Just going to make sure I don't get any splits in the final look. Even though I've put some pins in. I'm just relaxing this tension here a little bit as well. That's cool. That's great. Lovely. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to split the pony in half now. So I'm just separating it. I've waved the ends slightly. It didn't curl too well actually. It was quite resistant. I don't know if this is fully real hair. But I got some movement, so that's all I was really bothered about. I'm just going underneath the sections now. And just with my tail comb, I'm just going to do a little bit of back combing, just to get that volume, because I want it to really fan out at the back. But just a little bit. It also helps join the natural hair, in this instance the mannequin hair, to the new weave hair that we've added in, which is very silky. But I'm sure you'll agree already, we've started to, yeah, very Ariana. Yeah, very Ariana. Yeah, we're sort of looking that kind of sort of fresh and sort of summer vibes as well. So I'm just taking these sections here and I'm just pushing this down just a little bit. And it just helps to start fanning it out. As shown. And then I'm taking the remainder of the hair through this top section. I'm going to comb it. I'm going to brush all this out at the ends afterwards. And this is just surface back combing. You won't see this. Like that. And then that's just going to help to give me that little bit more grip in terms of fanning it out. And then just cover any of the back combing that you can see on the surface, but not the underneath. So gentle combing. And then dress the ends. I'll show. Naturally, there's still a little bit underneath. So all I'm going to do is just with my fingers, or you could use a dressing brush as well at this point, is I'm just going to manipulate them out. Although they'd naturally fall out as well, so I don't necessarily feel like I have to do too much dressing. There we go. That's really cool. You can also use a comb or a brush for this. Just depends on if you still want it to look quite separated. I'd wait with your fingers. If you want it to look a bit more joined together, I'd use your comb. And there's a slight colour difference with this hairpiece. It's a little bit more red, I'm sure you'll say, but I actually think that can add to the overall effect of the look. And just join the two together. I'm just using my fingers. I want something a bit more sort of lifting, not necessarily too sculpted. So you can see, I'm just going to show you what we've created here. Again, that sort of gives you, and it's really adding that kind of volume and that texture through the bottom. And now what we're getting is this much more wider look. Without the piece on top, we wouldn't get this kind of like fullness, this like full shape down here. So I find it's just going to really, and you could also sculpt in, I mean you could sculpt it to a full pony if you wanted. You could actually do a full pony into the back, but I wanted to do sort of like that half down, half up look. Okay, so I'm just going to switch my tongs back on. These heat up super quick as well, so I can switch them on and off. And I'm just going to divide the sections into two at the front. I'll show you my division in just a few minutes. How do I want this? I think I'll have it a little bit thicker on that side. Sorry, I'm just having a discussion with myself about about the density of the sections. Just want to, because I'm going to leave some down, you see, at the front, and take some up at the back. Yeah, that'd be cool. And they're sort of similar, kind of, yeah. You can see I've made a division here, and I've also made a division here, and this section is going to go up. So I'm going to take it up here. Now you've got an opportunity, if you like, to actually hide this section here, which I'm actually going to take. I'm actually going to loop this through underneath the piece. Just need to quite delicately do this, so it hides any fine lines, which is really cool for a very, very fine hair like that. And then what I'm going to do is use this hair, and I'm going to loop it round the top. And what this is going to do, it's going to hide any of the weft. Now, you could use some of the weft hair to create that very Ariana Grande look, you know, when they actually really quite thickly wrap a band of hair around. But I wanted to create some, not necessarily too Ariana Grande. I didn't want to copycat the look. I'm just using this in more of like a utilitarian way, just to actually hide any weft hair. I don't necessarily want to actually create exactly like that kind of look. I'm going to actually work with a little bit of hairspray in this section, and I'm just going to take a small dressing brush like this one, usually used for back combing, but I actually enjoy using it to smooth out any hair. So I take my hairspray and I spray the brush, and then just with the tip I then smooth this section through. And it's going to really help me smooth those little bits through. And I've also put a little bit on my fingers there. And it just creates that little bit of smoothness in this section. There we go. That's great. Same on the opposite side. Actually. Yes, cool. Same on the opposite side with this other section here. I'm going to show you. This section's a little bit bigger because obviously we're working to a side parting. So I'm going to take this, all these little bits of hairs that are falling away, I'll dress in later. I'm going to work underneath the section again. Need to grab it. I'm going to go underneath. And then again, what I now can do is wrap a little bit more hair around the top. And this will just hide the weave nicely, and it gives that beautiful little cut. Look, the highlights come out really nicely there, and these little face framers. So we're just utilising the actual colour of the hair in a really clever way there to create a feature. And I'm just sort of working with just a pin. Again, you might want to put a few more pins in there. Spray that down. Just to smooth that in place. Well, she's not going anywhere. She's staying right here with me. She's not going out tonight. She's going out tomorrow instead. And again, just take these hairs and I'm just going to spray them in place. I'm going to use my fingers as well, but you could use a comb or you could use a dressing brush as well. So just spray a little bit on the dressing brush and just delicately place that in. Lovely, that's great. This isn't the best quality weave hair. I sort of just grabbed this out of the extension box at work. I think it's like training hair, but hey, it's cool for what we're doing today. All right. Yeah. Amazing. Right, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to create two really loose boho waves at the front, and then we're done. I'm going to split this section into two, because it's quite large. Pop a glove on in case I need to hold the hair whilst I'm styling it. It's not always necessary to wear a heat glove, but take my tongue, preheated at 200 degrees. These do go to 230, so they go super hot as well. And open, away from the face, always away from the face. And then turn. I don't really want that curly. I want more, I curled it 3 days ago. That's the kind of look that I'm going for. And it's dropped out, it's very, very boho. I'm just really organising the hair. Can you do it with your fingers, or you could comb this section? I'm just gonna grab this brush. Nice and smooth. We still want light reflection. We still want it to be as smooth as possible. So again, take this through and away from the face. So as soon as you round to the other side, if you clamp there, right now we'll create a crease in the hair. So we need to make sure we clamp at the back. And then I start to heat this section, and then once I feel it's sufficiently heated, that's when I can turn and do the rotation. And then turn and do the rotation. And do the rotation. I'm just going to let that set for a minute or so. Actually, do I want that a bit more curlier? No, that's going to look so cool. And the same on the opposite way. So we're going the opposite side now. So again, always curl away from the face. It looks far more flattering. Unless the client specifically asked you to curl hair onto the face. I've never been asked for that though, in all the years I've hairdressed, so again, curl, and then twist. And the twist just creates more of a flatter effect. We could just curl just round normally, but it creates this like flat like curl. Switch those off, you can remove the glove. Okay, I'm just going to start dressing it now. So this is where all the final bits come together. So any bits that have like come out of the sides or you're not happy with, this is where you start to really sort of dress them. So you look at all the symmetry and, you know, and I'm just going to work with a little bit of hairspray just to smooth any of the hairs that are coming out of the piece. And I want to bring them a little bit more forward to create that more drama. And I'm just lifting up the sections, spraying them and letting them fall. So they come a little bit more forward. And then I'm going to take these two at the side. I'm going to just work them with my fingers. And then I'd wear a hairspray shield would be on at this point, or I'd use my hand and I'd just spray these sections into place, making sure that there's no bits of hairs in there, sort of getting in the way. Once that was set as well, I could redress that out if I didn't want it so static. I'm just working through as well. So I probably would take a little bit more of that up, but you could discuss that with your client. It's not too late to do that. You could say, should we pop that bit away? But I didn't want it to be too thin on this side actually, because it's wearing for side parting, so that's what I was concerned about. But and then I'm just going to work through the back. Now, okay, and then we have it. I'm just using some weaves to create a very Ariana Grande kind of almost half up, half down look, using a boho curling technique as well, and it's just give us this very lived-in festival kind of look. I'm going to take her out. Actually, I don't know, I think I'll keep her up. So that's the look that we've created today. Wish I got a little bit more curl in that, but never mind. It's kind of cool like that. It sort of gives us this kind of very structured high ponyed look. I'm going to lift her off just to give you a bit more of a visual. Yeah, cool. And that would be the look. So as well, when she'd move, you could see we're getting this like really nice swing, and it sort of gives us this really cool kind of look. Beautiful. I need to practice that curling technique. I love this curling technique. It's just because it gives you that really super flat wave. Can you see? So it's flat and then twist and flat and twist. It gives you more like that, and it looks really cool after about 20 or 30 minutes, I find, because it actually gives you that really disheveled. So it's going to give you more like the actual hairpiece, more like flat, with just sort of a bend, really. But yeah, that's the look. So working through with like this kind of really long piece through the top to create that really dramatic high pony. That's great. So, hope you enjoyed that little mini session, guys. I will upload it to our YouTube channel. I'll also upload it as a hyperlink to the Fundamental Blow Dry and Styling Techniques course for our school leavers for 2020, and that's just a bit of an extra session. I'm going to take a 5-minute breather. I'm going to upload this to our Instagram TV as well, so you'll be able to check it out in, well, loads of different places if you want to see how this creation was made today. And yeah, so that's really cool. And I'll be back shortly. Actually, the next session I'm doing is a hot tools training session, and that will be week 4 of the fundamental styling course. And then straight after that I'm doing busy day. Straight after that I'm doing a split ends treatment haircut. So there's a lot coming up. Okay, I'll see you soon, guys. Take care.